Hello and welcome to Motors TV for this look back at the 2011 International GT Sprint Series. Created in 2010, this GT Championship consists of 25-minute sprint races, with 2 races at each of the 7 rounds of this year. And we'll head straight away to the live commentary at the first race of the season at historic Monza.
You can see both of the black Ferraris out in front. Who's going to get the whole shot? The Eddie Chris team are not slow, not indeed, but look up the inside because I think that might have been Barry, number 21, having a look up the inside as well. Eddie Chris, and is that Barry? Is that the 21 car? No, it's Eddie Chris who get in there first, and it's number 27, that's Mugello in second place now, so he split both the Eddie Chris cars. So Mugello showed very, very well in practice, and it's a bit of a surprise that he didn't get the pole on this, but he's on for a challenge with Eddie Chris and splitting the team already. Very, very fast track here at Monza, and that's the leader who spun out 22. Matteo Cressoni is out already. And I don't know if he got tagged, but yes, Cressoni is out joining the race again. But that's got to be crushing for him. No, it was a mistake on his own. Pushed the power a little bit too early coming out of the corner, swapped end for end. And Mugello's taken all advantage of that, luckily not to get tagged on the way around. But his teammate was definitely tagged. Dalistelli getting clipped on the rear on that, so although he's still running, he's now dropped down into third place. So it's Mugello and Barry out in front, Dalistelli in third place. Ciro and Nicky Cadet has climbed his way through the field last year, chasing for championships. He's now in 5th place. Del Castello's now in 6th, and Mantovani, Zanardi, Proietti. Oh dear, well, Eddie and Chris are going to have a couple of words back in the paddock when this race is finished. Number 23, Dalistelli, back, as we say, in the race, but look at the back of that car, it's all askew, definitely been tagged by Cressoni on the way through, and that wing is, is on hiding to nothing, because the wing will give you a lot of downforce in the corners, but Mugello at Monza is a very, very fast track here, and we've seen in other classes some of the cars electing not to race with wings. 21 Barry goes in front. He's into second place now. So it's Mugello, number 27, and Barry, number 21, both from the second row, now in first and second place. And Ciro Dalistelli and Nicky Cadet into 5th place. Ciro, though, is putting in a very, very quick lap, so watch out for him. Ciro, number 20, another Ferrari. Difficult to tell them apart. Quick close-up of Dalistelli, number 23. And the gap opening up a little bit at the front here. 1.4 seconds now between Mugello and Barry. 25-minute race plus 1 lap. And look at the gap already. Mugello's shown what he can do in qualifying. In practice, he didn't quite make it in qualifying, but it didn't matter. Both Eddie and Chris teams have basically done each other in, as it were. Dalistelli is still circulating, but you can see the rear got tagged, and his wing is all askew now. So Mugello out in front, and now not under challenge, really cutting those corners very, very close. So he's really pressing on here. The Corvette still in there. Del Castello, number 6, in 6th place. Sorry, Del Castello, number 30, in 6th place. And it's a big fight for them. The big white Corvette, you can see that's number 20. 0. AF Course Competizione car. You can't immediately tell from the colour scheme because they're all different. They've got different colour schemes. And the battle over second place between Barry and Ciro now. And Mugello, with those clear road in front of him, and you did see how he was pressing on. It's just put in the fastest lap of the race, 151.13, and which puts him 2.2 seconds in front of everybody else. So black flag for Dalistelli. telling him he's got a problem which could interfere with other races. That wing doesn't look, well, it can't be secure, but got clipped by his teammate on the first lap. In fact, second corner, I think, of the first lap. Number 23, there you see Dalistelli, and somebody already pulling. Didn't quite make the corner, wasn't too sure who that was, but whoever they are, they're behind the Porsche, behind the Corvette now, and way behind the Corvette as well. Barry and Chiro still fighting away here. Number 20, Chiro, and his doors, obviously a problem with the door, and that was a problem with the door before the race started, because you can see they taped it up. Obviously didn't use enough carpet tape to keep that door closed, and it's now swinging open, so that's not going to do well for his race. Still got the notice up now, number 20, black and orange flag, technical problem. He's going to have to come in to fix that. That's for Chiro. And he's really opened the gap over Chiro behind him and Barry. So Nicky Cadet really starting to push on here. Now he's taking the times down. So 2 seconds from Mugello, who thought that he had this in the bag and could cruise a little bit. Now knows he's under real threat from the AF Course Ferrari of Nicky Cadet. Meanwhile, Chiro and Barry in their own battle back there, and everybody else trying to get past the Cup class cars. Whoa, no! Barry gets tagged, and I think Pressoni was on him at the time. Or is it De La Reina? De La Reina, that's De La Reina, it's got to be. And Pressoni's off. I think that's De La Reina who had a go at him, and they both came off the track. And that is a real shame. Yeah, Barry definitely out of this race now, and he was having, and he can't even get back in, dug himself a real deep hole in the gravel, has Barry. And I think De La Reina, so he doesn't show on the screen, I'm sure that was De La Reina who tagged him. Mantovani rejoining the race as well, having been caught up with number 37. So you can see that the different classes in this championship make a lot of sense, seeing as some people have got the newer cars, some have got the older. And that's the reason they split them up. But also they've had to split the GTS Cup into 2 classes, because there are 2 different Porsches in there with different standard horsepowers. And Antonelli Motorsport are in the class of their own, really, in GTS Cup B class cars with both of their 997 and 2010 edition Porsches. So that's it. Across the line, it's Mugello. One more lap for him. Time has gone for Mugello. This is his final lap, and really does need to just keep it all together. He's got 5 seconds on Nicky Cadet in second place, and Chiro in third. Del Castello, good drive for him in fourth place. Then Mantovani and Proietti, the GTS B class cup, the B Cup class car. But the GT Sprint class always can be a little bit confusing earlier on in the season, because of a lot of them are Ferraris, and some of the teams, for example, the word going around the paddock is it's very difficult to say which is the AF Course team, because all the cars have different colour schemes, so difficult to identify them as teammates even on the track. No such problems for Mugello. The Vittoria Competizione class F430 Ferrari out in front. It's his last lap, and he's still negotiating some of the back markers, but that is no matter whatsoever. Vittoria Competizione, from taking the championship last year in a very, very close finish from their main rivals, AF Course, are going to score the best points so far. Nicky Cadet at the back of that group, you can see 27 though is Mugello. And that's it, passes the checkered flag
Max Mugello in the number 27 Ferrari F430 won the opening race this season ahead of 2010 series runner-up. And first in the GTS3 class, Niki Kadai was the only driver entered in a Ferrari F458 at the start of the campaign. In the GTS Cup, the win went to Angelo Prietti in a Porsche 997. The number 27 Ferrari also took the race win in race 2. This time it was Andrea Palma at the wheel. Pole winner at Michael Dalle Stella was second ahead of the F458 of Fabio Mancini, who was also first in class in GTS3.
This car still leading around, swings over and is still under caution, waiting for the red lights to go out. It's green, we're under green flag racing, and Mugello has got a good start, but Barry's going along with him. But the first corner is a left-hander, and you need to get placed for that. Mugello's got it into the first corner, and Barry right behind him. I think it's Niki Kadai next along. Already having a look up the inside, not a lot of room here. Gallardo fairly well down, but I think he's got past. I think that might be Niki Kadai into second place behind Mugello. So again, it's a straight fight between the AF Corse and Vittoria Competizione cars. And that's Roberto Del Castello in fourth place in the RC Motor. Or is it Ciro? Has Ciro got past? Ciro, number 20, from the third row of the grid. And of course it's a white Ferrari. And I think he's gone into second place. It's quite possible. Having a look at Del Castello, number 30 in the Corvette, the RC Motors Corvettes. A little bit of condensation, I think, on the inside of the lens of one of the cameras. That is not dust from the gravel trap, because nobody has gone through there. I think that is indeed Ciro in second place, Niki Kadai in third, Barry in fourth place, and then Cressoni in the Eddie Chris Ferrari. And already somebody's gone off. Can't get the number from here. It's Galassi. Oh, Galassi from the back row of the grids. The Malucelli Racing Ferrari. He's gone off. So Sorti's in front of him and not last now. Still Mugello, followed by Ciro. Both very, very quick cars, both pulling away now from the rest of the pack. Number 21 going through there. Barry is in fourth place now and well down. As you see, Galassi spinning, number 57. Got top three sweep through the picture. Then the gap to Cressoni. And then another gap to Barry. That was Ciro just going a tiny little bit wide here. Kadai couldn't do anything about it, but sticks with them all the way around. Barry being dropped off the back of these four, because it does look like Cressoni is starting to catch. 2.7 seconds down on these three. And Del Castello and Dalle Stella behind them in their own fights. Del Castello into sixth place, Dalle Stella in seventh. Oh, not nice at all. Number 27. Max Mugello, don't know what's happened to him. Just didn't see that from the beginning. I was looking at the timing screen, but he's off. And that means that Ciro and Kadai, and it's Kadai who's got into the lead now. Look at this, coming up to the corner. Does he get tagged? He does indeed. Ciro tags him, and I think there'll be a little bit of a confrontation after this, possibly in race control, hopefully in race control under controlled conditions. But it does look like Niki Kadai is neat through, while Ciro and Mugello had that coming together. Maybe a little bit of a brain out moment from Ciro, but he's gathered himself together and now chasing after Niki Kadai. Kadai's got some space in front of him. But look at that, Cressoni with the Edel Chris car has been able to close up on these. Mugello down in seventh place. They lost a shed load of places on that, trying to get back on track and seeing everybody sweep past him. But still 15 minutes of the race to go. Ciro is still chasing hard. Niki Kadai will have seen that happen in front of him and will think to himself, what do I do now? Do I try to control what's happening from the front, or do I really use my tyres and get away from this loose cannon behind me? Because Cressoni is starting to close as well. Barry now into fourth place. Bit of a present for Barry, didn't expect that. Del Castello another 3 seconds behind him. No, 5 seconds behind him, so no threat there. Nicky Cadet getting it all at Twitch. And Ciro piling on the pressure, but all the time Cressoni's getting closer and closer. Ciro seems to be fairly composed about this, getting some nice tight lines with the AF Course Ferrari. Oh no, somebody else has spun round, and that's number 40. That's Sorti number 40. So the replacement driver for Borcellari has spun out in the middle of the track, the Kessel Ferrari. And look at this, the battle still rages at the front. Nicky Cadet and Ciro right behind him. Giuseppe Ciro. But they got 2 minutes of the race left. Ciro will want to get fifth away from Dalistelli. Knows he can do it, but was on the wrong line to do that there. Nicky Cadet and Cressoni still bolted together. Seems like one's towing the other one around. It's just with an invisible cord. Look at this. Close as you like. Did they touch? Dalistelli definitely saying he's not giving way. Coming up on another back marker now. Nicky Cadet still holds the fastest around here. It's eased off a lot though, and I think that's probably down to tyres at this point of the race. Best lap 136.9. They're into the 139s now. And Matteo Cressoni can't do anything about this. Although he's still trying. You don't give up until the very, very last moment. 1 minute left to race, and then as they cross the finish line, they will have one more lap to go. Back marker gets out of the way as they should. Nicky Cadet gets another slide. Back marker, I mean, they are waving those flags to get this guy out of the way. He's staying where he is. Cadet slips to the inside. But that's held up Cressoni again. Cressoni gets through, but has lost out vital tenths of a second now on Nicky Cadet. Matteo Cressoni doesn't look like he'll be able to do anything. Still got to come out of the back of this circuit. And cross the start and finish line again, and I don't think they'll have, oh dear, Gallardo out wide, and it does look like that's a four-wheel drive car because you don't handle that, and that's De La Reina just tagging Ciro. So look at the gap now, Nicky Cadet. That's it, just managed to count the clock down just before they crossed the start and finish line. This should be the final lap. It was close though. If they crossed the start and finish line before the clock had wound down, would have had 2 laps to go. So we'll have to see as they come out of the final turn if the man with the checkered flag is ready. But I don't think anybody's going to threaten the 4.58 of Nicky Cadet. Number 55 under investigation. That is Amaducci, the Scuderia Lana Ferrari Cup class car. Don't know what he's under investigation for. But look at the gaps now. Nicky Cadet controlling this race. Matteo Cressoni knows that really there's not a lot he can do now. He knows how fast this new Ferrari is, even though it's a GT3 class car. His GT2 class car can't catch it and can't do anything about it. Can catch it, can stay with it. That's about all he's able to do. Nicky Cadet still driving hard. Exploring a little bit of the limits of this car. It is brand new. Only been raced twice in competition. It is indeed the final lap as they come into the long sweeping left-hander down to the Adrian Campos corner. Nicky Cadet into Campos. Now for the charge to the finish line. He's in front. Nothing is going to stop him winning. Nicky Cadet crosses the start and finish line for AF Course, who've got revenge after the victory from Vittoria Competizione, and Edil Chris into second place this time. Third place, Barry And Barry with the Vittoria Competizione car.
On to the second race then in Valencia. Pole winner Andrea Palma gets the best start and jumps straight into the lead then from Barry and the surprising Corvette driven by Del Castello. And Roberto Del Castello does manage to get round Mancini to take the lead in the GTS 3 class. But that battle was far from over. Mancini then retaking the position from Del Castello in his Corvette. Up ahead, meanwhile, Barry tries to pass the number 27 Ferrari for the lead. Unfortunately then runs wide there. His visit to the lead only for a moment, and so it's a win for the number 27 Ferrari. Andrea Palma ahead of Barry and Michele Dalistelli in third. And with their third win in 4 races, Max Mugello and Andrea Palma build their championship lead to 23 points from Cadei and Mancini. They're followed by Giacomo Barri, Glauco Saleri and Mattia Cressoni.
Pichiro, Fabio Mancini. I think Nicky Cadei is driving off today. Yes, it is Nicky Cadei. Round one at Valencia. But 60 kilos against Ciro's only 10 kilos. So you'd expect Giuseppe Ciro to bounce away at the front here. Pace car's got in. And it is Giuseppe Ciro out in front. Did a 146 in qualifying versus a 146 plus 0.2. But look at this. That's a 458 from around the outside. Palmer stuck a little bit down. Not where he wanted to be. And he's down in 4th place. I think that is a 458's got out to the front. So far, no problems. And breaking into that first downhill corner, everybody's got through. We've got a lot of place on heads. Nicky Cadei. Actually, yes, it is a 458, which I said swept to the front, which is unusual because he's carrying that extra 60 kilos of weight. But it's Nicky Cadei on the 458 out in front of Giuseppe Ciro. Unusual, but it just shows the class of that brand new Ferrari. Palmer battling away in 4th place behind Barry. But Cadei, Ciro, Barry and Palmer, they're all together. Dalistelli's made a great start into 5th place. Roberto Del Castello and the Corvette in 6th. Then Solieri, Trentin, Della Arena and Alessandra Neri. Not so great a start for her. She's down in 10th place. But in front of Graziani, who's made a great start off the back row of the grid. He's carrying that extra 60 kilos as well. So it really hasn't hurt him too much. 25 minutes of racing plus 1 extra lap. And they're already breaking away. Nicky Cadei and Ciro out of the front. Giuseppe Ciro able to stay with the 458. Remember, this is a GTS 3 class car out in front again, and quite a heavy weight penalty to balance the performance of all of these cars. A look at Dalistelli in 5th place, number 23. Lots is expected of Dalistelli here, but the front two are already starting to pull away now. On lap 2, the gap is 5 seconds over Barry in 3rd place, then Palmer in 4th and Dalistelli 5th place. Dalistelli really pushing hard. He wants to get past Palmer, and that's going to be a difficult job to do. Action at the back of the grid. 43, Neri is on the move. So Alessandra Neri past Graziani. This is what she wants to do. Looking at Ciro. Ciro's got past. While we were looking at the back of the grid, I think Ciro has gone past Nicky Cadei. It was along the start and finish straight. He does up the inside. Trentin in the Cup Class car, currently leading that championship. Fact is, co-driver Amaducci won last time out in Valencia in race 1, won the class but was penalised and didn't come out to race in race 2. So no points for him. And Alessandra Neri needs to do everything she can in the Cup Class car to fight for that championship, and here's where she wants to do it with back-to-back victories here last year in the class. But Cadde is still harrying Giuseppe Ciro. Still has to do a drive-through penalty. And they're locked together, both in the same team, I remind you. Different class cars. GTS3 is the 458. And he's coming in. He's pulled to the side. He must have seen it. Coming through for his drive-through penalty. Giuseppe Ciro away at the front. And that means Barry will be in second place as they cross the timing beams for the start and finish straights. It still shows Nicky Cadde in second place, but he's got to do his drive-through penalty. At this point in the race, well, Giuseppe Ciro, no problems. Carlo Graziani. Now it's Glauco Solieri, who I think just went through. So a bit of confusion, and that could cause some major problems a little bit further down the field if drivers don't realise that they did have that extra lap to go. The man with the flag still holding it out to everybody else who's crossing the start and finish line. Still waving the flag to everybody. But this is definitely the final lap for Giuseppe Ciro. And that's it. That should be it. Across the start and finish line for the final time. Lights go off. Pulls off the power. Giuseppe Ciro has won this. Waiting for Barry to cross the start and finish line. And Barry comes across. 11 seconds down. Dallistelli behind him and really closed up there. Giacomo Barry across the line. Dallistelli, a great podium for Dallistelli, for the youngster. Then it's Palmer, Nicky Cadde, Del Castello, Glauco Solieri. And first corner could catch him out because it's a downhill to the first corner. This rise over the top won't be a problem. Daniel Perez controls the race. Red lights are still on. They're still not racing until those red lights go out. But they cross the line and now they are racing. Daniel Perez has got a great start, but it's an Edel Chris car which is fighting along with the Ferrari. The Ferrari's going to get it on the inside of the corner. That is Michael Dallistelli, who had a great start. Dallistelli into third place. That's Mugelli's car, Max Mugelli's car, into fourth. So from fifth to fourth. And what's happened to Giacomo Barry? I think Giacomo Barry's behind this lot. But once again, Gaetano Daniel Perez, the AF course, GTS2 Ferrari out in front, and oh dear, just as I look down, somebody gets hit at the back of the grid. That's Roberto Delaguanti, and that is so unfortunate, having a crash in the first lap of the first race, and he looks like he's out for the first race or the second race at Portugal. He'll go home feeling really hard done by. Max Mugelli on board with Max. Oh, slamming down the gearbox there. He's really on the charge. And I think he's in fifth place at the moment. Fifth place it is indeed, behind the 458. And let's have a look at what happened. Oh, gets tagged from behind. Gets pushed into the car in front of him. That's number 50. Who was that behind him? Marco Galassi, I think that might have been, who went into him from behind. Talk about a bad stroke of luck. Max Mugelli, number 27, you just saw going through there. Number 20 is your leader, Daniel Perez. Gaetano Daniel Perez not getting away at the front now. And good news for Michael Dallistelli. But look at the battle now being joined at the front. Dalli still behind him. Barry is not being dropped this time, but it is early days. Barry carrying 30 kilos. Daniel Perez carrying only 10. Behind them, the Corvettes. Sweeps past, just holds up Glauco Solieri there. So Roberto Del Castello gone up in front of Solieri into 6th place. Battle at the front. Daniel Perez leads Barry. Dalli, great for him. Just 0.6 of a second behind Barry. Then Mancini, Max Mugello, Glauco Solieri has swapped places with Del Castello, who's now in 6th place. Solieri 7th. Then Cesare Brusa. Good start for the Cup Class car in front of Marco Galazzi and Stephen Goldstein. Race 2 about to wind down. Barry we're looking at, because when he crosses the start and finish line next time, he will be on his final lap. Been a good race for Barry, good controlled race. So Giacomo Barry out from the final corner. Up the hill. And across the start and finish line to start his final lap, 1:48.4. Dalli 4.2 seconds behind him for the final lap. Barry, and you can see the gap between Barry and Dalli. Edel Chris will be holding their hands up, saying to themselves, well, we've beat AF Course, but we haven't beaten Vittoria Competizione. They're going to be the next on our list. Dalli's definitely got the talent. All he needs now is more experience with this car. But Barry, good race for the man. Giacomo Barry, Vittoria Competizione. On the run down through his final lap. And the car that he shared, well, Barry didn't share the car at all. We're looking at somebody else. This is the Fabio Mancini car, which is in 3rd place. He shared that with Nicky Cadet, and it gets better than Cadet, who got 5th in race 1, will be taking 3rd here. But Barry, out of the final few corners, dominated, even with the weight penalty he's been given. He's not weightless, he has 30 kilos on board, but something about that car has been set up perfectly, and he's managed to hold it all the way through here. Getting past Daniel Perez very, very quickly, crosses the line, that's it. Barry, a famous win for him. Dalli 3.6 seconds behind. Edel Chris on 2nd. And across the line, Mancini for AF Course takes GTS 3 honours away from Del Castello, who's only 1.6 seconds behind him at the end of the day. Then Daniel Perez, another 3.5 seconds down in 5th place. Max Mugello in 6th. Glauco Solieri will be the next one across the... down, jockeying for position already. Green light racing. And Daniel Perez already away at the front, but other people coming up the inside as well. I think Matteo Crissoni's been able to go with him around the outside. No, it's not, it's Palmer. Now let's see how they're sorting themselves out. So far, no problems at the front. And I thought that was Daniel Perez, but I could be wrong, because I think he slipped all the way down. I think that might even be Max Mugello at the front. Difficult to sort them out until they cross the first of the transponder beams. But that is Max Mugello out in front, number 27, and he's come from the 3rd row of the grid, so an absolute flyer off the start. Antonio De La Reina, number 41, just going through your pictures. Nice to see that the Porsche is up there as well. So Glauco Solieri has taken the Porsche from the fourth row of the grid up into contention. And already some passing going on. Nicky Cadet's under threat. Sees that threat off in the dark black number 31. Keeps his third place alive as they come up the hill and around to complete the second third of the track, onto the start and finish straight. And it's unfortunate that our timing's out. It is Daniel Perez right out in front, then Cressoni, and then Cadet. Cadet in particular looking forward to this particular race. And we've already got somebody under investigation at the beginning of the race. Daniel Perez from Cressoni, Cadet. Now our timing screen has come up. Nicky Cadet, Dalistelli's there as well. Barry, Mugello, that's where it is. Glauco Solieri down in seventh place with the Porsche. And already a little bit of a problem at the back. Somebody's just lost something. I don't think it was tagged. But this was the start of the race when I think there's a little bit of investigation going to be done at the start, just before they crossed the start-finish line. People had to be in grid order as they went across there. Daniel Perez currently in the lead by half a second. Cressoni behind him, Nicky Cadet. But it's all closed up now. You can forget the timings because it's all going to be a battle. It was Daniel Perez. The timing screen had me a little bit confused at the beginning of the race. Solieri, seventh place. And once again, have a look at the start. Already people are having to brake hard to keep their places. Fastest man on track at the moment, Nicky Cadet, just put in the fastest lap, 1:38.9, early days yet. It's only the second lap. And Nicky Cadet in third place, really wants to be pushing Dalistelli, the fastest man in the straight line though, in fourth place. So watch out for him. Then Barry, then Mugello, then Solieri. So no change from the first lap. Mantovani in ninth place, Del Castello, Roberto Del Castello, ninth place, then Massaza in 10th, Trentin de la Arena, Robert Kaufman, the American, down in 13th place, Fortuna, Brusso, Carlo Graziani in 16th, then Galassi and Petrini, best lap, Nicky Cadet. But Daniel Perez currently leading, and already a passing manoeuvre attempted. Whoa, that was tight. Very tight indeed. Marino Petrini, one of the Cup class cars, a little bit further down. There's Nicky Cadet, fastest man on track at the moment, but being dropped a little bit now as Daniel Perez and Cressoni start to split the field a little at the front, and Dalistelli's getting a little bit less left, and I think Barry went a little bit wide on that corner as well. Daniel Perez and Cressoni right on him. And I think Cressoni's going to look for a pass under braking because he made up quite a bit of time coming into the corners. Nicky Cadet, his fastest lap's been taken away. Number 56 out of the race. That is Oscar Vittore, one of the Cup class cars. Scuderia Lanat got a little bit tagged and in fact, nearly took somebody else out as well. So Daniel Perez leading it, 1:38.7, just put in the fastest lap of the race as he needs to because Cressoni and Cadet are chasing hard. Number 20, your leader, Cressoni and then Cadet. But remember, Nicky Cadet has got the red stripe across his windshield, which means he's GTS 3 class, so not in fact third in his own class. He's leading the class. Dalistelli will be third in GT2 at the moment, even though he's lying in fourth place for the International Series. But after getting past Ardania Perez, took just 2 or 3 corners for Cressoni to punch away from the rest of the field. And this is all carrying extra 40 kilos of weight as well. Penalty weight from previous rounds to balance all the cars and make the competition that much tighter. Out on the final corner, across the finish, Matteo Cressoni starts his winning ways yet again, and Edil Chris, a great victory in their first this year. And Dallas Deli, even with that damaged bodywork, able to hold off Max Mugello in third, and Glauco Solieri in fourth place. Great finish for the first time out for the out to Orlando Porsche. Giuseppe Giro's already got the hammer down. Matteo Cressoni wants to go with him, slots into second place. Dallas Deli, I think, slotted in behind him. I think Dallas Deli, just being squeezed into third place. So this time, Daniel Perez got out in front. Last time out, Giuseppe Giro does exactly the same. But behind them, Dallas Deli is under threat already. And that is possibly Palmer, who's gone past. Not quite sure about that. It is Palmer who's gone past. No, Mancini who's gone past Dallas Deli. But then it was Palmer and Barry and Del Costello Solieri's down in 8th place. So the Porsche needs to do better than this. Didn't get such a great start. But Giuseppe Giro, would expect him to lead away. But definitely Cressoni's going with him. Mancini and Dallas Deli together on the track and fighting off Palmer, I think, behind them. So quite a way to go in this early days. Have yet to complete the lap, but look at that, Giuseppe Giro already out in front and fast as well. Well, half a second on Cressoni behind him, and then the gap starts to open up. Mancini and Dallas Deli in their own battle, then Palmer, Barry, Del Costello Solieri, Robert Kaufman up to 9th place, and Mantovani in 10th. But these front two, Giro, Cressoni, starting to pull away from the field, even in this first lap. Mancini behind them, Fabio Mancini, whose teammate Nicky Cadet won. Motors was the next one along. And across the finish line, and Giuseppe Giro leads from start to finish and takes race 2 here at Misano. Matteo Cressoni, despite everything that he could muster, crossed the line in second place, almost 2 seconds down, tried everything to close, wasn't able to do it. Dall'Estelle crosses the line 15 seconds behind Cressoni, and then it's Barry just 2.8 seconds behind him, so Barry was chasing hard the final few laps, couldn't catch Dall'Estelle though. And Palmer across the finish line, 7 seconds behind Barry, ran away from Andrea Palmer. Then Roberto Del Castello in 6th place.
Cressoni took his first win of 2011 at Misano in race 1. It was Giro taking the laurels in race 2. Mugello and Palmer still lead the championship. The gap has been drastically narrowed.
It's a little bit unfortunate that we've got big problems with the sun shining right into the monitor. So if we have any little hesitations and surprises and you say, oh, you didn't see that, it's because the sun doesn't shine on your TV. The sun shines right here in Spa-Francorchamps for round 5 of GT Sprint.
The Mercedes safety car is trying to, squeeze the pack before leaving them right through the rolling start.
They'll come up to the chicane for the rolling start. Start line will be across the start and finish line for the international paddocks. They're all lining up on the grid over at the club paddock, but they will actually start just before the La Source hairpin, so you come out of the chicane. It's not going tremendously slowly, it's just that when they do get going,
it's just stuck.
The black and red Edil Chris Ferrari alongside the 458 at the front. Matteo Cressoni, his second time out here on this. Fabio Mancini, it will be his first time racing this afternoon. So it gives a little bit of an advantage to Matteo Cressoni, but they're all top class drivers. Out of the final chicane.
Here we go.
The pace car is pulled in and it's up to Fabio Mancini to control the start, which he does. Engine revs rise as they stream across in front of us, and once again that 458 has got out in front, and in fact somebody else has got past. No, we just see them all.
Great job by Mugello on the outside.
Max Mugello on the outside. Matteo Cressoni, I think it's tried to come
Solieri,
back.
what a start by Glauco Solieri with the Porsche right in front.
Actually came from absolutely nowhere. Third row of the grid, Glauco Solieri has been able to make hay while the sun shines, and the Ferraris tripping themselves up at the front, but still
lost it again.
In front.
It's Mancini.
Fabio Mancini still out in front, and I think that might be Max Mugello behind him, number 27 it is, but Glauco Solieri slots into 3rd place behind him.
He had a huge run off La Source hairpin, then he had lift up before the Eau Rouge. Glauco.
Yeah, who's lost out big time on that is Matteo Cressoni. Cressoni down in 5th place at the moment. Giro.
Watch out for him.
Ooh, Giuseppe Giro taking over from Daniel Perez. The white Ferrari that you see there slipping sideways, gone past Glauco Solieri now. Solieri being relegated to 4th place. Giro goes up into 3rd, and now Matteo Cressoni is having a go at Solieri up the inside. Solieri's just lost places, and that was too quick to count. So behind Solieri now is Barry. Barry's on his case. Dall'Estelle, the second of the Edil Chris machines, and it's Matteo Cressoni having a look on the outside of Giro at the moment. Meanwhile, out in front, both Mancini and Mugello running away, but Mancini not running away from Mugello at the moment. Giro in 3rd place, and Matteo Cressoni from 2nd on the grid, now in 4th place, and sees Giro in front of him. He's going to be difficult to get past. Now let's see what GTS2 can do against GTS3. Fabio Mancini being chased by Max Mugello. AF course being chased by Vittorio Competizione. And there's another AF course car coming under threat from Edil Chris and Matteo Cressoni. The Edil Chris car, while somebody else goes wide, and I think that might have been Barry, and he's cut in front of everybody. That could have been very dangerous.
Yeah, it's a really bad position, because then you have to yield back and let the other cars go.
And he's going to let Dalistelli go past as well. Dalistelli gone up the inside. Look at this! Oh! Max Mugello on the inside. Oh, Fabio Mancini goes past. 4:30 beats 4:58 in this race so far. So Max Mugello, we did see that he was trying to chase him down. I didn't think he'd have a chance to chase for the lead though, but he has done that. And it was out of the final corner when, out of La Source, when Fabio Mancini went a little bit wide because he went over the rumble strip, wasn't able to get the power down, got the power down now. Up the inside goes Fabio Mancini, wasn't able to do it that time, got his nose cut off by Max Mugello. Mugello still leads. Now it's Matteo Cressoni in third place and Giuseppe Ciro in fourth. The white Ferrari you see there. Number 27, Max Mugello, GTS 2 leads GTS 3. Fabio Mancini in second place. It's a very, very quick engine. Let's just wait for the straights and see what he can do, because that 458 should close up. But Matteo Cressoni is now getting in the mix. He's been able to pull away from Giuseppe Ciro. Giuseppe Ciro and now in front of, I think that's Solieri, because I think Barry's way down. It's Solieri, then Dalistelli, and then Barry, I think. Yes, it is.
What a turnaround for Max Mugello and Andrea Palma. I talked with him a couple of half an hour ago, and he said, well, I would like to be on a plane back home.
Well,
what about now?
His teammates saying, don't worry, we'll do something about this. Max Mugello has, in fact, thrown the gauntlet down big style, slapped Fabio Mancini's Ferrari about the face, and Fabio Mancini now coming under threat from Matteo Cressoni. Edil Chris trying to get into the mix now. The Edil Chris team, they've had some really good results this year. Instead of their perennial third place, they want to mix it with both the AF Corse and the Vittoria Competizione cars in front of them. Number 55 goes through your view.
It's Davide Amaduzzi, number 55.
So, unfortunately, not seeing them on our leaderboard at the moment, so I don't know what's happening. No, he is on there. He's in 10th place. So, Mugello, the fastest lap of the race so far goes to Matteo Cressoni, 2:25.6. So, 2:25.652. And look at that. Look at how quick he is. Trying to have a go up the inside, and he's got past as well. Perfect place to do it. Speed as well, so the confidence of having a totally dry track has paid off for the GTS2 machines. And Matteo Cressoni slots into second place. Now can he run away from Fabio Mancini? Nicky Cadet must be biting his lip in the paddock saying, don't let him through, don't let him through. And also that's Giuseppe Ciro having a go. So it's all gone wrong for Fabio Mancini.
Yeah, really bad lap, but we have to consider that Giuseppe Ciro completely dominated the last two races he entered.
But he won't be able to do it here. Now it's time for Glauco Solieri. Let's see if Solieri can do anything about Fabio Mancini in front of him. There has to be some time to stop the rot, and I think Fabio Mancini might say right now is the time. I'm not letting anybody else pass me. We will see. I would think that if Glauco Solieri gets past, maybe he could get past, but if anybody else gets past, then the machine itself has a problem. The 458 now down in fourth place. AF Corse is Fabio Mancini from the pole position, now locking up the tyres as well, so he's really pushing hard on that machine. Nothing's going to hurt him now. When he crosses the start and finish line, will be the last lap for him. Giuseppe Ciro has said thank you very much, but he's in a lonely second place because there's not a lot he can do about Matteo Cressoni, save some kind of incident. The Corvette just goes past us on the straight with everything flapping, needs to get around the back. And look at that tyre destroying the bodywork.
And that's a pretty expensive damage.
Yes, it is. It's like
carbon fiber.
It's like throwing a brick inside a working washing machine. You know, the destruction involved is immense. So, But Giro is in second place, just under 4 seconds down from Cressoni. Glauco Solieri says thank you very much. I get a podium out of that. And there's the bodywork from Roberto Del Castello's Corvette littering the track. Nobody in their right mind's going to go out there to try to retrieve that. The drivers have got time to see it though, unless two come round together, then it's going to be fun. But Dalistelli in 4th place, Barry in 5th, Mugello now the 6th place, Mancini in 7th place, is still going around, but he's 3.1 seconds down on Max Mugello. This will be the final lap. Cressoni goes across the stripe, 3.7 seconds in front of Giuseppe Ciro. Glauco Solieri waiting for him to go across the line. There he goes, 7.7 seconds down on Ciro and 11 down on the leader. Then Dalistelli 1.3 seconds behind Glauco Solieri. Hasn't really given up, but he's only got one lap to do it, and I don't think he's going to take that chance. Dalistelli will stay where he is. Still waiting for Barry, Mugello, Mancini, Antonelli et al. To cross the stripe to start their final lap. But it's no problem for Matteo Cressoni. He's only got about 5.5 kilometres left to run on this track now. And not under threat from Giuseppe Ciro at all, but always at times like this, you can't take it that easy. Once you take it easy, once you start to lift a little bit, it's not that you lose speed, you will also lose concentration. There are enough corners on this track of the famous Spa-Francorchamps that can catch you out, and that you do need to concentrate all the way round. So we will always say that, because we don't expect people like Matteo Cressoni to make a mistake, to make a self-inflicted injury, for example. But we always say it because there is always once or twice it happens. You're way out in the lead, you're not under threat from anybody, and then you do yourself the nasty.
Yeah, of course we did quite with Max Mugello was not under threat, not really under threat, but he still lost the concentration a little bit, and that it meant losing a position and losing everything basically.
Yeah, and the car bit him in the neck. And that's what happens with these Ferraris. You lose a little bit of concentration. All he needed was a little bit too much boot, and that's what it was. A little bit of a push out of the corner, the back end snapped around, and you lose all those places. Max Mugello from 2nd place down to 6th place, and everybody's trying to avoid that. Cressoni goes past for the final time. Some of the remnants of the Corvette flaps his wipers. It's not raining out there, but I don't know why the wipers are flapping, but there's something out there, probably bugs. Out of the final chicane, down to the stripe for the checkered flag goes Matteo Cressoni, the winner here in race 2. Edil Chris, yet another victory under their belt. That's 2 victories this year for the Edil Chris team. Giuseppe Ciro crosses the line in 2nd place. Glauco Solieri will be on the podium. Behind him, Dalistelli quite close. What could have happened a couple of laps if they'd had a couple of laps more? But Cressoni, Ciro and Solieri on the podium. Still waiting for the next person to come across the line after Dalistelli.
After dominating the first half of the season, Mugello and Palmer's lead continues to shrink. With just the rounds at Mugello and Vallelunga to be run, the top 9 in the standings are now separated by a paltry 12 points.
The black top of the Ferrari right next to Ciro. And it's Ciro next to him. Green light goes. Cressoni puts the hammer down, leaves Ciro, and right behind Cressoni, Barry's gone with him as well. So I think Barry's gone up to 2nd place. Ciro still there on the outside. Giacomo Barry's got the inside as the Audi swings out late to try and get an apex through the first corner, coming through. And we've got a spin at the back, number 47. That's the Ebby Motors. That's Roberto Silva, who's out already. Ebby Motors, the 997 RSR Cup class car, is being tagged as well. So damage at the front. Can't get going. Got tagged by another Porsche going past him. It looks like both of them were out. And we've got more out as well. There's a wheel rolling across the track.
Another 2 Porsches, and this is Maurizio Fratti, unfortunately.
Fratti spinning with the back end going round, tagging somebody else. There are 3 people involved there.
That was
one of the Ferraris.
Pierre Leoni.
Pierre Leoni's getting out of it, and that wheel Oh, misses just everybody. And Serafino right at the back avoids it. But Matteo Cressoni out in front of Ciro, then Mancini, Barry, Palmer, Solieri. Safety cars out on the track because of that crash. So they'll all stay basically where they are.
Yeah, we've seen the front radiator of the cars, of the AB Motors cars.
So that's the one that's left all the liquid all over the track. And the pace guy's off. They're under race conditions again. Now Cressoni starts to move. Ciro goes with him. A big gap that's opened to, I think that's Mancini. Mancini in third place, and I think he's almost about to be passed there. And Barry having a look round the outside. Palmer behind him. Then Solieri, Cicognani. Have to look twice at that name. Just behind Solieri, wanting desperately to get past. But there's Palmer and Barry in a battle behind Mancini in the dark black 458 in third place, whereas Ciro Cressoni still battling at the front. Cressoni starting to open a little bit of gap, as is Ciro over Mancini. Barry and Palmer still locked together. Glauco Solieri going with him. Cicognani, there he is. Still within touching distance of Solieri in front of him, but this battle between Palmer and Barry is going hard. Barry number 21, Palmer number 27. Palmer having a look up the inside, just a quick glance. And gap starting to open up now, but Barry and Palmer still going at it. Palmer still harrying him. And Cressoni trying to stretch his lead, but Giuseppe Ciro staying with him.
Yeah, Giuseppe Ciro is one who's not lifting off the throttle, is pushing all the time. And of course he knows that he has to make up ground for his teammate, which is less experienced than him, Gaetano Ardagna Perez. So he's constantly pushing as hard as he can.
And needs this as well. Not being able to catch Cressoni at the moment, who's just taken the fastest lap, 149.798 versus 150. Almost dead for Giuseppe Ciro, but he's faster. Fastest people on track across the stripe for the speed trap. Glauco Solieri and Cicognani, 267. That R8 is quick. Needs to close down on Solieri, but they're both going as fast as possible. Cressoni still out in the lead. Ciro closed up a little bit on him. They're dropping Mancini.
And they are showing a black flag to someone here down the...
Black flag is out, but we can't see the number. Mancini almost coming under threat now. Can't see the number for that. We're looking at it from the back.
44 is probably Romani.
44, Romani. That was the Porsche that came onto the track and probably must have come onto the track wrong or done something wrong. Definitely black flagged and out of the race, so he'll have to come in. Cressoni still pulling away little by little from Ciro. Mancini's being dropped by this pair, but Barry and Palmer right behind Mancini at the moment and fighting for third place. Glauco Solieri still there, as is Cicognani. The gap opening up at the front, as you can see there, a big gap to the fight for third place, and a gap now opening between Solieri and Cicognani. Dalistelli now starting to harry the R8. Dalistelli got a lot of time for him. Whoa, Ciro going wide, kicking up the dust on the exit. You can tell he's really pushing this, trying desperately to close down Cressoni, who's just put in another fastest lap, 149.4. Ciro 150.3, losing time all the way down here. Then Mancini, Barry, Palmer, Solieri, Cicognani, just like that. Dalistelli right behind him. Then a big gap to Mantovani and Antonelli. So even with this almost 15-minute sprint, Cressoni's been able to get away from Ciro, and you can see how hard Ciro is pushing now.
And now both Barry and Palmer are targeting Mancini.
The Barry's right behind Mancini. and looking for a pass and trying to think of where he can do it, but that 4.58 is quick. It's very, very quick. Hasn't been able to show it here though, because the 4.30s are supremely developed.
Yeah, it's still a new car, the 458, but it's pretty fast, and also in terms of maximum speed at the end of the straight, it's faster than a GTS2 car.
And remember, this 458 is a GT3 class car, and still holding up Barry and Palmer behind him. Solieri not in the frame just yet. There is Glauco Solieri, and he's dropping Cicognani. Want to see the fight between Cicognani and Dalistelli. Cressoni, fastest person on track, and Cicognani still doing the fastest top speed at 267. That's 10 kilometers faster down the straight than Cressoni. So who's got their fingers crossed for what Audi are going to do next year?
Yeah, it goes the same story for the 58. Sorry, they have higher speeds because their engines are unrestricted. The car is supposed to be less developed, but with a more powerful engine. The fact is, the new GT cars, road cars, are
Barry's
really
having
developed.
a look up the inside. Look at that, Barry weaving left and right. Can't get past Mancini, making that 4.58 very, very wide indeed. Trying to get a drift up the inside. He's alongside. Can he do anything about this? Going through Poggio Secchio and then up to Borgo San Lorenzo. Downhill, back to the front with Matteo Cressoni, 4 seconds to the good in this race of Giuseppe Ciro. Barry, though, 1.3 seconds behind Ciro as they cross the line. Still going faster. Ciro did a 150.3, Barry a 149.6. So there's still a chance for Barry to take Giuseppe Ciro. And Ciro, I think there must be something going on with that for Barry to be able to catch him that quickly.
Probably it went too hard on his tires, and now he's paying the price of it.
So they've crossed the start-finish line. Final lap is going to be probably when Cressoni crosses the stripe the next time around. The clock has counted down. This is not the final lap. They'll have one more lap after this. One more lap for Barry to try to chase down Ciro. For Stephen Goldstein to try to get past Pocciolari. And for Dalistelli to try to get past Cicognani in front of him. There we go, across the stripe. This is the final lap. Matteo Cressoni, 149.5, no problems there. Giuseppe Ciro, 150.3. There is Barry, right behind him by 1.1 second. He has to do it on this final lap, but I don't think he's going to. Giuseppe Ciro knows how to manage a gap, and that's what he's going to do. Mancini, 4.4 seconds down. Palmer right behind him, still by 0.1 of a second, still trying to get past on this final lap. Then Glauco Solieri, then Cicognani and Dalistelli, but Dalistelli's been dropped a little bit across the line. He was 1.7 seconds down. Still this battle between Palmer and Mancini. Mancini still staying ahead. And there's Matteo Cressoni. It's going to be a cruise to victory in race 1 for Matteo Cressoni. Racing team Edelchris will take 3 races in a row here, not here, but in the championship. After their 2 wins in Spa, it's going to be yet another one for Matteo Cressoni.
Yeah, now Cressoni is coming out like the true favorite of this championship. He's so talented, so focused, and he's a former open wheel driver too. He raced in Formula 3000, which is quite important, and he's putting all these things he learned together. And from Spa and from Misano on, he really made the difference.
So Marco's hit the nail on the head here. Added to the fact is that in this series you can drop your 2 worst results. And Team Edelchris are looking very, very good indeed. From being perennial 3rd place to AF Corse Vittoria Competizione. He's going to cross the line for the 3rd victory in a row. Matteo Cressoni is the victor in race 1. Behind him, Ciro and Barry together on the track. But not enough. Giuseppe Ciro takes that victory in front of Barry, and still Mancini holds off Palmer to take 4th place. Glauco Solieri, but with the screaming Audi R8 right behind him at the line. Solieri takes 6. Cicognani 7. Dalistelli still.
Mattia Crestoni scores another win in race 2 at Mugello. And thanks to his 3rd and 4th victories of the year, Crestoni moves ahead of Mugello and Palmer in the championship standings.
Will Barry get the better run on the 21 on the outside? They're nice and slow as they come through. Everybody behaving themselves at the moment. 25 minutes plus a lap coming through the final double right-hander at Roma. Lovely start. Watch for the lights. Everybody bunched up. This is very well behaved indeed. Put this on a video and show this to some of the series. Well, a bit of a bad start from the outside of the front row, and that means that Ferrari is going to be swamped, and straight away from the inside of row number 2, the Solieri Porsche goes straight. Oh, and already a spin, and that was directly from that bad start, and there's carnage in the midfield, and that 458 is just about going to get away with it as it comes back onto the circuit, but that was all from the slow start at the head of the field. 27 there is the Andrea Palmer and Max Mugello Vittoria competition car, and there it was the problem. Giacomo Barri in the Vittoria Competizione Ferrari 430, and he's a man with championship aspirations as the Corvette there, the white RC Motorsport car, Roberto del Castello, and there is the replay, and you can see there, just got out of shape. And look at this down the inside. This was very nearly a very, very big accident indeed as they headed to Curva Grande. But the 458 somehow filtered back in, and no surprise then that we've got the safety car coming out nice and early. So we'll bunch everybody up and have a single file restart right at the top in the middle of the screen. You'll see the time ticking down. This is a timed race, not a lapped race. The Mercedes-Benz safety car is out on the circuit. And you've got to think. Single file start, of course, this time, although someone hasn't told the Edelkrist team, and again they're very, very racy as they go across the line. That's a cracking start, and again the Edelkrist team car in 4th position at the moment, trying to go around the Corvette. And just couldn't get that one to stick, but that was almost a carbon copy of the first start. Look at the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th. The white of the Corvette with the 2 Edelkrist Ferraris right in behind them. Nicely timed restart. 430s battling together. Oh, and a touch! That's a bit naughty. That's the Vittoria Competition 27 car, the Andrea Palmer and Massimiliano Mugello, Max to his friends, and Dalla Stella, who I think was the culprit for the first. Now, is that a bit of payback? I think that was the culprit from the first incident. I thought it was Dalla Stella. And that was the team car to the one who's just paid him back there. Just watch, the 23's going to get a little love tap here. Just enough to spin it out and to push the bodywork onto the right rear tyre. Masterful avoidance there by the Alessandro Cicionani driven Audi. And all of a sudden it's spread out at the head of the field with 15 minutes to go. And well, there you go, the stewards jumping on that avoidable contact for Andrea Palmer in the 27 Vittoria Competizione car. Another big lock up down at the bottom of the hill there, heading into Cimini 1 and 2. Yes, I see. hit Hindhoff on the head. It's not just 40s for the Cubs, they're 40s, 50s and 60s. Meantime, another big lock-up from the 22. That's Matteo Cressoni, who the stewards, I think, are looking at quite strongly from that start line incident. A quick look at the Audi Team Italia R8 GTS3 runner, second in their class at the moment. Remember, Cressoni leading the way in GTS2 with Ardagna, Perez and Kiddo just 9 points back from this. Well, it's going to be 3 more laps from here, isn't it, if I work that right? 2 minutes to go, 1 minute 30 lap. So this will have been reduced to a 15 lap race. Ciro, Necci, the Corvette, Solieri, and then that Audi in 4th position, the first of the GTS3 cars, but at some distance now. It's going to really shake the championship up. Where is Cressoni? There he is. So that puts him 5th in GTS2. Scars of bodywork lying around the circuit. Right, coming back towards us now. Here are the leading 3. This has been a measured drive by our leader, Giuseppe Ciro. Started on pole position, bit of carnage going on around him. Now here's the cup battle coming through. That is just about spaced enough not to have me getting super excited. Seconds in the middle, counting down. That is the battle for the lead. First, second and third together. Now that one, you wouldn't put your house on any of those, even getting onto the podium from here. Solieri in the Porsche has a little look in the Auto Lando car. There's a very experienced team. They know how to turn out the car. The AF Corsa boys leading at the moment with 31 seconds to go. There'll be this lap and one more. 25 minutes will expire on this lap, and then they will get the last lap board next time around. Can Giuseppe Ciro hold on? This is massive news for the championship, with the leader only down in 5th position. The Corvette in the GT standings, GT3 standings. Class has already gone to the Steve Goldstein's car that we saw on the grid earlier on. It's the team's championship as well, but to go into the machinations of that right now as we head on to the final lap, I think would probably be professional suicide if I try to work that out right now. I'll have a look at the website later, I think, for GT Sprint International. It's the Drivers' Championship that has been so hard fought across the season. Oh, and almost a chance to have a look down the inside there for the Corvette of Piero Necci, excuse me. Now he's as close as he has been for the last couple of laps. He just hasn't really had anywhere to attack. It's a very tight finish last half of the lap, and then the double apex at Roma, and he's not going to be able to do it. This is a lights to flag victory from Giuseppe Ciro for AF Corsa. The RC Motorsport Corvette for Necci comes in second, and then third it is going to be, oh, in fact that's the last lap, isn't it? Excuse me, 1 to go. As time ran out on the last one, it's +1. So there is one more chance. Meantime, further down the field, now didn't we see this earlier on with the 22 car dropping back under braking, and that is worse news for the championship for Matteo Cressini. as the leaders now have got traffic to deal with as well. Oh, fabulous driving, absolutely fabulous driving by the 43 car, Alessandro Neri. Made sure he didn't influence the race at all. Last chance then for Piero Necci. I just don't think he's going to get it done. He hasn't really had a good look anywhere. If anything, it's been Solieri in the Auto Lando Porsche, and he's looking busy as well at the moment, going into Roma for the last time. But he's not close enough. He cuts the inside line. It is AF Corsa that wins it. The Porsche takes the tighter line coming out. It's a relatively long run to the flag, and he's getting closer, but he's not going to make it. And the top three finish as we have seen them for most of the race, indeed, as they went off the line. Now this is significant for the championship, because this is the 22 car. 2 wins in the last round, and he's in trouble. He's dropping positions here. Pretty certain it was him that caused that start line incident. The Edelchris car of Cressoni then dropping back another position, and that's massive for the championship. Massive for the championship. Something like 35 seconds behind the leader, and that's put him down, I reckon, in 7th position as the Cup class cars come through. And it is the Audi R8 of Alessandro Giordani, the Audi Sport Italia car, that has taken the GTS 3 win, ahead of the 458 of Fabio Mancini. The AF Corsa.
Just coming out of the tightest curve on the track, the Tolentino curve. Tight hairpin where we've seen a lot of action in the past, especially from the four-wheel drive cars, though I don't know if the Lamborghini's out there. Must be. And that's a four-wheel drive Lamborghini. But no rain on the track, so no real advantage to having four-wheel drive. In fact, that holds you back a little bit. The pace car has gone in. We're under starters' orders. It's Giacomo Barri in the white and red Ferrari, and Ardania Perez next to him, and behind them with the black top, Matteo Cressoni. It's between Matteo Cressoni and Ardania Perez. Cressoni ideally has to get out, not only lead, but put in the fastest lap of the race to win the championship. As they come round the final Roma curve, we're under racing. Glauco Solieri having a look up the inside, and it looks like Cressoni's been boxed. He's been boxed, and he's been looking at losing 4th place, because right next to him is the Corvette, which ducks underneath him. Cressoni tries to tag with him, but look who's gone in front. Ardania Perez is way away in front for this one. And I think Giacomo Barri has been hauled in. I think he's down to 3rd place. Yes, it's Glauco Solieri who's got into 2nd place. And look at this behind them. Ardania Perez out in front, Glauco Solieri having a look, Giacomo Barri in 3rd place. And that's Fast RC Motorsport Corvette with Michele Merendino on board has gone into 4th place. And that means that Matteo Cressoni has lost yet another place, because he's been passed as well. Nicky Cadet has gone past Cressoni. So Cressoni, it's all going wrong for him at the start, down in 6th place. This is not what he wanted. Nicky Cadet looking around the outside of Merendino now. Not going to be able to do that there. Matteo Cressoni having a look and trying to keep in touch. We've got a while to do it, 23 minutes, 23 and a half minutes plus 1 lap of racing. And they don't want to let the leaders get away too quickly here. Merendino going very well in that Corvette, GT3 Corvette, all on a twitch with Nicky Cadet behind him. Cadet pressing hard. Very fast out of Roma. Glauco Solieri having a look. at Ardania Perez. Ardania Perez not as fast as he wants to be, and Giacomo Barri sniffing at the rear of Glauco Solieri as well. There's Merendino in the Corvette. And Nicky Cadet having a look again round the outside. He might be able to do it. Stuck his nose in front, but he's left on the bubbles at the edge of the track. All the balls of rubber there, but he manages to get past. Now Matteo Cressoni having a look. What has Merendino got in the locker? He needs to keep Matteo Cressoni behind him. Matteo Cressoni has to get past. Has to get past in short order. Michael Dallis with him as well. So Edil Chris teammates behind each other. And Cicognani starting to work his way up, but he's way down. He's been tagged. That is Cressoni. Cressoni got past. He's been tagged by Merendino. Oh no. So everything that Max Mugello was working for, he really had to push hard. And getting tagged by Merendino, and the GT3 class Corvette puts Matteo Cressoni's race all over. There's no way he's going to recover from that. As I said, he needed to get out in the lead. And Cicognani right now starting to bite on the back of one of the Edil Chris teams. I'm sure that is Michael Dallistelli, who's been able to survive. Max Mugello, it would have been, who'd been fighting to get past Merendino. Look at this Glauco Solieri still having a look at Ardania Perez in front of him. Giacomo Barri still behind him. But Nicky Cadet starting to push hard. Nicky Cadet, there's no holding back Nicky Cadet in that beautiful 458 Ferrari GT3 machine. And Barry, knowing that Nicky Cadet's all over him, and Ardania Perez, well, he's not the fastest of the pairing, we've seen that. Giuseppe Ciro running away from everything, but now look at this, Glauco Solieri and the Porsche, the GT2 Porsche takes the lead. Ardania Perez relegated to second place, Barry still there in third. Whoa, it's all on the go. Nicky Cadet there as well. And then Max Mugello. Antonio Della Reina, Michael Dallistelli, Cicognani. Cicognani starting to sniff at Dallistelli now. The R8 having a look in 8th place. And look at this. Look at this. Nicky Cadet. Oh, that's number 20. Yes, that's a replay of number 22, Matteo Cressoni. I saw his race all over. Glauco Solieri really trying to maximise his speed now of the 997. Pulling away from Ardania Perez. Giacomo Barri still there in third place. Still hasn't got past Ardania Perez. And Nicky Cadet not with the speed to pass Barry down the straight. And being dropped a little bit, because this is a GTS3 machine up against the GT2 cars in front of him. Oh, around the outside. How brave is that? Out on the baubles, but back in again goes Giacomo Barri into second place. So Ardania Perez falling down the order. Now it's time for Nicky Cadet, who's got his lights on, wants to get past. All this time, Glauco Solieri pulling out, and that's it, let him through. Why don't you? There goes Nicky Cadet into third place. Ardania Perez down into fourth, and it looks like all the work that Giuseppe Ciro did. He knows that Mugello and Palmer are behind him, that's all he needs to do, but Barry is in front of him. And Barry, 133 plays. Ardania Perez, 154. Won't be worrying about that. Ardania Perez, all he needs to do now is to maintain distance over Mugello and Palmer. The Mugello-Palmer team. Max Mugello on board the number 27. And Mugello is in 5th place. So all he needs to do is stay in front of him. And how easy is that to do? But he's got to drive a clever race here. He's waving. I think that was Nicky Cadet who was waving. Glauco Solieri way out in front now, nearly 2 seconds in the lead. But Giacomo Barri's just put in his fastest lap, so he's trying to catch him. Daniel Perez, then Nicky Caddy, then Max Mugello. Glauco Solieri, number 30, who's had a drive-through, that's Merendino. Merendino, I think, probably for that tag on Max Mugello, has just suffered a drive-through penalty. And oh, look at that! Cicognani almost bounces up the inside of the tightest corner on the track and puts poor old Max Mugello back one place. So this is all to the good for Daniel Perez. Max Mugello, he needs to keep Mugello behind him. Well, even if Mugello passes him, Mugello needs quite a few places to take the championship away from Daniel Perez and Ciro. So trying to keep that in my mind as we're looking through the race at the moment, but Cicognani is doing very well right up the back of Michael Dalistelli at the moment, and that's number 27, Max Mugello, in front of a lot of them. So he's lost out a little bit, but the person who's lost out big style. Matteo Cressoni, sorry, his championship. I'm getting Mugello and Cressoni mixed up. Mugello, of course, not in with a chance of the championship anymore because they on 138 points, and Daniel Perez way ahead of them. But still, maximise your points here. I can't keep all the points in my head at this time, but Dalistelli still doing a grand job out there, fighting against Mugello. Out in front, Glauco Solieri 7 seconds ahead of everybody. And Merendino, he's done his drive-through penalty and way back in the pack in 9th place behind Mantovani. Cicognani crosses the line, 4 seconds down on Nicky Caddy. So what has happened there? Had a look around the outside, it was a spin trying to go around the outside of Nicky Caddy. That's what did it, cost him 4 seconds. That battle over 3rd place is now over. Nicky Caddy has got that one in the bag. Number 47, Silva, down in 13th place. All drivers involved in their own particular battle. Galassi in front of him, number 57. There, Dalistelli, 5th place. Max Mugello, Cressoni, Mantovani behind him, but Glauco Solieri it is, who looks like he's going to take this. Waiting for Glauco Solieri to cross the start-finish line to start his last lap. Because the clock has run down now. And all around them. Oh no, that's unfortunate. Merendino. Something has happened to him. Maybe he's spun. But, yeah, around the outside. And putting the power down. Spins around. Needs to get started again. So, almost three bites of the cherry for Merendino. And it hasn't worked out for the GT3 Corvette. Glauco Solieri crosses the start and finish line for his last lap. The number 24. GT2 out Orlando, Porsche 997. 1 lap to go to take his first win of the season for Porsche. And Porsche will love this. Coming in big style next year, they will be. Daniel Perez, just over 5 seconds behind him. Still holding off Nicky Caddy to the tune of over a second now. Cicognani still retains 4th place, but 3.5 seconds down on Nicky Caddy. Dalistelli, 4.2 seconds down on him. And number 37 out in the gravel. So bad news for Antonio De La Reina and his Ferrari 430 Scuderia, the GT3 machine he was sharing with Stephen Goldstein. Doesn't matter for that team. They wrapped up the GT Cup Championship at the last race. But the final lap for Glauco Solieri. But the man who will take the championship is this man, Daniel Perez. and Giuseppe Ciro will be cheered across the line. Nicky Cadet, number 31. And still passing back Marcus on his way round is Glauco Solieri, number 24. But it is a parade lap for Glauco, one of the older drivers in the championship and one of the vastly experienced ones as well, in a very, very quick machine out of the Roman curve across the start and finish line for his first win for Porsche this season in GT2. Brilliant for Glauco Solieri. Behind him are Daniel Perez.